Welcome to another segment of provocative conversations destined to provoke further thought and spark greater questions regarding God, church, and the religious establishments of both the past and the present. I am the proud heretic, Mr. Provocateur himself. This is Mr. Provocateur, here to provoke you into deeper thought, to challenge you in a deeper, more dimensional way than what you have been, than what you are accustomed to. It is my duty as the ordained heretic to speak forth the oracles of God as I know them and as I have come to experience them, and as they have been uttered to me in a prophetic type manner. I do not consider myself a prophet, but I am considering myself, and I do consider myself as one who is a teacher of the oracles of God, whether they are written oracles, divinely spoken oracles. Therefore, because of my title itself, I am ordained, and what I say do go against the established norms of the day, especially within the church world. But anyway, I'm moving on to July 2nd, 2020, and this is what God said to me in relation to the type season this is. When I read you the stuff from these individual dates, I told you it was 22 different days that God spoke these things to me, and these 22 different days took place over a period of maybe 8 months now, or let me see, this is the 10th month, so yes, about 8 months now that God was speaking these things. These were not one day after the next, though maybe a couple of them were. This was a month here, 2 weeks there, 3 weeks there, 2 months, whatever it was. Whenever the fullness of time for those moments to come, God gave me those moments within this moment, within this season of time that we're in. And on July 2nd, here's where I am, but I never give you the full of what God stated to me on a particular day. I only pull segmented pieces of what he spoke to me and put them in their own individual topical listing. So anyway, here we go. And I hate to use that word but you don't even know how many times you use the word until you record it, and then you discover how often you use that word. But there are people who have been in the media and at microphones for years and years, and they say no matter how long they've done this, they still find themselves with the moments. In my ponderings, I want to just stop and ponder, but you might check your radio to figure, well, what happened to him? What happened to the record? Nothing happened to it. I'm just in a pause moment. I could have been in a but instead of me saying that, and then once I get the word that I'm trying to say, I'll say it. But then you again think that something must have happened to the recording because I cut out of there. I have people on the phone often say to me, "You still there?" I say, "Yeah, I'm just trying to get my word right. I want my wording to be right. So I got to put that word together." I said, "I'm not going anywhere. They'll think I hung up or something." I've had people hang up on me. And I called them back and I said, "Well, why did you hang up?" And they said, "I didn't. You did." I said, "No, I didn't." Or they'll say, "I thought you hung up." I'm sorry. They'll say, "I thought you left. I didn't know what happened, so I hung up the phone." That's what they would say. No, I'm in thought. You can take out some of the uhs if you just stop until you get that word. But anyway, let's go on with July 2nd, 2020. God spoke to me, I think, twice on July 2nd, 2020. And this is the first one that he spoke to me, the first set of utterances that he spoke to me on that particular day. God said, the season that you are in is a woeful season. WOEFUL, woeful. If God says to you that this is a woeful season, you need to know that this is a very serious season then. And if God says to you that this is a woeful season, then for you to understand how serious it is, you would have to what? Look up the word so that you can understand what the darn thing means or what God is talking about. Well, to deal with the word woeful, you would have to first deal with the root word of it, which is woe. The root word of woe means sorrow, grief. So when God say this is a woeful season, he's saying this is a season filled with sorrow and grief. Now that we are here in in October, we know now that many a family must have been crying and hurt during this season. Why? Because look how many families lost family members and how many people lost close friends and whatever else. God said this is a period, a season of sorrow and grief. The word woe means misery. God spoke to me about woes and all of that earlier than July. God was repeating something to me here, but you didn't hear about those woes because those woes are going to be up under the generalities of this season and regarding the people. Okay, so anyway, woe means sorrow or grief, misery, misfortune, wretchedness, a warning to negative consequences. It means intense grief, grievous distress, affliction, trouble, misery resulting from affliction. It's a state of physical or mental suffering, prolonged anguish. The word woeful means affected by or full of woe. This is a mournful season, causing, involving, or expressing woe. The word woeful means deplorably bad, expressing or characterized by sorrow. It's of a wretched quality. It speaks of, again, sorrow. It speaks of poor. It speaks of affected by or full of grief or woe. And it's suffering from usually prolonged anguish. Woeful means causing sorrow or regret. Miserable, unhappy. God said this is a woeful season. This is a season where you're going to have sorrow and regret. You're going to have prolonged anguish because this is not a short season. People will be miserable during this season. They'll be unhappy because that's what woeful means. You are in the midst of a woeful season. God said this season is filled with woeful events. Filled with woeful events. So God, you mean to tell me woeful events will happen throughout the course of this season? Exactly. God said, woeful events will occur during this season. Woeful events will fill this season. There will be woeful events that cannot be measured in this season. This is a season of immeasurable woeful events. The woeful events of this season will not be able to be measured during this season. I don't know if he's saying they will not be able to be measured only during this season, because you have to wait till afterwards to accurately measure it, and it'll be measured to a greater degree of accuracy upon the end of this season? Or is it because that everything that will be going on will be at such a fast pace, at such a continuous state, that it's just too much happening at once to see everything. This season, God said, this is a season of catastrophe. This is a season of catastrophe. This is a season of catastrophe. This season will bring catastrophe. There will be catastrophic events throughout this season. He said the events that will occur during this season will be catastrophic in the devastation they will bring. God says this is a season where people's eyes will be opened. This is a season where people will begin to see clearly. This is a season where people will see clearly. This is the season where people will see. Because honestly, there is going to be so much to see. This is a season where people's eyes will be open. A season where people will begin to see clearly. Hearing is an important aspect of this season. This is a season of hearing. People hear this. This is a season of hearing. What are you hearing? Are you hearing God? This is a season of hearing. Why aren't you hearing from him? I've told people that I've spoken with at the beginning of this here, I said, this is a hearing season. If you ever wanted to hear God and you haven't, this is your season to hear from him. Why? Because he's speaking very loud and he's speaking very clearly. And he's removing all of the obstacles that are in this earth realm that's keeping you from being able to focus upon him to the degree and to the point or to the level of consistency that is necessary for you to hear from him on a consistent basis, on a daily basis, on a case-by-case issue basis. This is a season that is full of hearing. This season is filled with hearing. The need to hear during this season will drive the people. People will be driven due to the need to hear. They want to hear. What is God doing? What is happening with our world? God, what are you setting up? What are you making happen? What are you working on? If you heard a lot of noise right there, got to shift my mic every so often. It might mess with your ears, but don't worry about it. We're moving. Hearing is an important aspect of this season. This season is filled with people's need to hear. They'll be driven to hear. They'll have a strong need to hear throughout this season. Why? Because what God is doing in this season is not going to make sense. And people are going to need to hear from him to know that it is him and know what direction he is going. And God is speaking like never before. Even I am hearing God like never before. It is amazing all that God is saying in and doing and throughout this pandemic period. You should not have a problem with hearing if you truly desire to hear, because this is the season to hear God as never before and see him as in like never before and as you never could have imagined him to operate in before. This season will create a desire to hear. This is a season where desire will be created within people to hear. People will desire to hear what is true. People will desire to hear what is of substance. In this season, people will only desire substance. Now, not right now, that's not happening, but people they're not going to want to hear the noise. They're not going to want to hear the fluff. They're not going to want to hear the empty clouds without rain. They're not going to want to hear the prosperity and all of that mess. None of that mess correlates with what season we're in necessarily at this point in time, even though it does connect with certain people within this season who will prosper like never before during this season. People will desire to hear substance of truth. God said this season, this is a season that will place a demand upon people's substance. This season will demand of you to bring forth substance, whatever substance there truly is within you. It will place a demand upon people to deliver substance. If you are a speaker, if you are an orator, if you are a teacher, a demand in this season will placed upon you to deliver substance. People are not going to want to hear the noise. They're not going to want to hear the fluff. They're not going to want to hear the religion. They're not going to want to hear the denomination. They're not going to want to hear anything about a devil, about a demon, about a hell. They're not going to want to hear anything about that. Shut up with me, preacher, and tell me what's up. Shut up, preacher, and give me something that will hold me throughout this season. Shut up, preacher, about money. I gives a hoot damn about money in this season. Wow. I say again, I give a hoop damn about any teaching regarding money. Exactly. Damn money. I can't do nothing with my money, no way. The doggone malls are shut down. The restaurants, my favorite restaurant, is shut down. Hell, I can't even buy clothes. Why? Ain't nowhere to go. So, preacher, you can't tell me about all of that. I'm not trying to hear all of that. I want some substance. Tell me what God is saying. Tell me what God is doing. Tell me how God is working. That's what I need to hear. That's what I want to know. What is he doing in this season? Don't give me something out of season. A word in due season. A word fitting for the season, for the moment, for the issues that I'm facing are what I'm looking for. Words of that sort, words relating to that. If you can't give me words relating to that, you can keep all of that other junk. I don't want any of that other junk. I'm tired of junk. That's how I got here. I'm tired of junk.
Wrong answer.
Exactly. It's the wrong answer. It does not fit where I am. It does not help me to where I am. And I don't want any more of that. Give me what is right. Give me what is what? Correct.
That's correct.
Exactly. That's what I want to hear. Some correctness, some substance. That's what's going to fly in this season. All of that fluff, all of that junk that once used to work is not working anymore. That stuff ain't going to get me nowhere. It's not going to get you nowhere. It's not going to get us through this season anymore. You are not going to fluff me through this season. You are not going to rape me, rob me, strip me down, and leave me empty anymore. If you're going to be in my life, preacher, if you're going to talk in my life, politician, if you're going to do anything for me, legal system, you're going to have to give me some substance. Outside of that, I have to defund everything that ain't working. And just for those who are messed up over that there, because as soon as I said defund, exactly. You just wait a minute and just, I mean, come on. Listen. No. That ain't what I'm saying, man. Just
hold it right there.
And let me say what I'm saying. To defund something is not necessarily to do away with it. Stop being so stupid and petty. Again, stop being so stupid and petty. Yeah, some people might say that in their ignorance and mean that in that way, but that is not what logical people, wise people who are reaching out for change, that is not what they're saying. They're not saying that. They're saying, look, why should we keep pouring extra money into these police forces' yearly allotment in their budgets? Why should we put that much money toward them when they're saying we're not psychiatrists, we're not doctors, we're not this, we're not that, we're not babysitters? Okay, well, instead of us putting money towards what you're not, let's keep giving money to what and who you are, and then we'll take that other money and put it towards getting folks who are daycare sitters, who are babysitters, who are firemen putting out fire. Let us put it toward people who are social therapists, who are social workers, who are people of a sociology background, people who are doctors, who are in the medical field, who understand psychiatry. Let's put it towards those people who know psychology, the psychology of humanity. Let's put the money over there. That's what they're saying. Stop being so silly. And it doesn't matter what you say anyway. You're not fighting against people when you come against what people are doing to try to change these systems, regardless of how people are wording it or how they mean it. Why? Because God is the one dismantling your system. Remember, God is dealing with every corrupt system in this season. This is a season where corruption is receiving its disruption. God is divinely disrupting the corruptiveness and the corruption and the corrupted ones within this season. Maybe that's why you're so bitter. Maybe that's why you want to go pick up your gun. That's why you want to load your AR-15, your 308. Yeah, that's why you want to load your $300. That's why you want to load your shotguns. That's why. That ain't why I want to load mine. I want to load mine just to protect me from. You say, well, the Lord protects you. Exactly. So stop wearing a coat when you go outside in the winter. The Lord protects you. Okay, then stop wearing shoes in winter. Well, that's just foolish. Why would I stop wearing shoes? And I live in South Florida with black dirt and splinters. Why would I want to do that? That's just dumb. Well, it's just dumb to not have something to protect yourself if indeed God wants you to protect yourself. God sent in your Bible, not mine, yours, your God sent those people, Moses and his boys and all of them and all the fighting ones of old, Gideon and all of them. They didn't go out there empty-handed. They went out there with their weapons, the weapons of their day. Now, I wish to God that we didn't need any of that stuff. I do. I wish to God that that wasn't necessary. And I believe we're apparently coming into a new state of living, a new state of existence where that stuff won't be in this sense necessary as it is right now. Listen, you get holy roly all you want. You get bullied and then bulleted. You'll become a target. You'll have bullets lined all up in your body if you don't have something to protect yourself at this point period in time. That's what I'm saying to you. Take it how you want it. I'm not telling you to get a massive arsenal where, you become the aggressor. No, in no way. But I am saying to you, be wise and be safe. Now, those who I know personally and those who have not written me off like many have, foolish move on your part, though. I say that. Foolish move on your part, but I understand you got to play your role in life. Those who have not and those who are close to me and want to be a part of me in this life, I say to them, make sure you go get yourself something. Make sure you protect yourself. Do right to protect yourself. If you're able to legally own a firearm or any other type protective device, do that. Do what you can. Do it for your own sake. Now, those who can't, do what you got to do. That's all I say. Do what you got to do. And then people, read your state laws. Read what the laws say about you owning a gun. Read the fine lines to self-defense. Read them. And don't, if you do already have something, don't you be the aggressor because you know you have something to protect yourself. You become the aggressor because you know what you have and you're setting up for that person to come at you because you know you can take them out and call it or claim it self-defense. It's not self-defense if you are the one who instigated the situation that brought it to the need for someone to defend themselves. Read your laws so that you will know what self-defense is and so that you will know how to defend yourself legally, because you just can't do anything and call it defense, self-defense. Now, some folk can, some races can, but as a black people, you can't. Not necessarily. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Now, we'll get on to that later because I'm going to talk on that stuff over there, okay? I will talk on that over there, period. Well, preacher, how you going to tell me about a gun and some bullets? Listen, the church ain't never had a problem in folk joining the U.S. Army. All those military people in there who was preachers and pastors and evangelists and whatever else and bishops and everything else and all of those chaplains, none of them had a problem in all of us having M60. I was a tanker. We had to have an M16. We had to have a 9mm or a 45 tankers. We had a sidearm strapped on our chest at all times in field environments and in combat environments. We had to be proficient on our M16s. We had to have a 9mm. We had to have a 45 caliber. I was trained on the 9mm, but when I ended up going overseas, I was given 45s over there, but I was on Beretta 9mm in the States. Well, we had to be proficient with 9mm, 45s. We had at the time 240 machine guns. We had to be proficient on that. We had 50 caliber machine guns. We had to be proficient on that. Some had to be, depending on your position as a tanker, more proficient than others. We had to know how and feel what it feels like to fire the main gun, which was the 105, I think, and the 120 millimeter rounds. And that's a big bang. That's a big boom. We had to know all of that. I saw pastors out there. I saw preachers out there. I saw all kind of people out there, and wasn't nobody complaining about those guns. A life is a life. No one was complaining about what they were training for and whose lives they were training for at that time. Now, I say nobody, but I was, because I was like, I don't want to kill people. I don't want to do this. I like the military, but I don't want to kill nobody. I'd rather have some other job. This is too much blood. I saw a few people killed in our training, a number of people killed, even in our combat training. In tanking, you see death a lot. You see death a lot, whether they're ran over by the tank, whether the tank turns over and that 60-something ton tank falls on top of you and smushes you, turns you into a pancake, or whether there was an accident in the tank where individuals are burned. I saw that too. The ammunition burns in the tank, man, or whether a tank fires and shoots your tank as a target. Though it wasn't a target, it was in practice, but your tank looked like a target, and they identified it as a tank, and they shot it, and the people in the tank died. Just all kind of things happening. I saw no one crying out about it. So when I talk about these things, with having something to protect yourself, church, don't you go running your mouth. The Lord will protect us. Okay, then disarm everybody in the military. Better yet, you got a problem with disarming the police financially. Why won't you have a problem in disarming them gun-wise? Oh, you don't have a problem with that. Well, isn't that hypocrisy? Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. Then watch this here. If you don't have a problem in buying a gun, why do you have a problem when you see a black person at the gun counter buying the same gun you're buying? You want to see a folk panic? Watch a black person go up to a gun counter and say, I want a 45 Colt. I want a 357 Magnum. Now, these gun shop owners and workers, they know that the gun isn't loaded. They know it's not loaded, that they're presenting to you to examine and to feel and to see if this is what you truly want. But when they look at you, they're scared to get that gun out the counter and hand it over to you. You got to look at them and say, man, is empty, remember? But they don't care because they see it as being fully loaded, because theirs always is, you see, and they get afraid when they see a person of color. Let a person of color go to the counter and say, yes, I want to check out that AR-15. They look at you and it's like, and right now they're saying stuff like, oh, we don't have them. Yeah, because you're giving them to your buddies, right? Okay. Or you just not going to just let us go because you don't want us to be as equally armed as yourself. Oh, is that what it is? Oh, okay. All right. Well, I thought it was equality for all of us. Justice was for all of us, that the Second Amendment and the First Amendment were for all of us. So why do I have to shut up right now? Why can't I see the gun right now? Why can't I buy that gun right now? Why is it only for your friends? Why are you not going to release ammo to me? Why can't I have that ammo? Why would you tell me there's none here, but when your buddies come up, there they are? How is that? Didn't you see me standing here at this counter first? Then why did you walk over me to help him? Oh, because he's of a different shade of color and you trust him more than trusting me to put a gun in my hand, whether to own or just to view and determine if I want to purchase it? Okay. All right. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, back to what we were saying. God says this season will place a demand upon people's substance, upon people to deliver substance. Substance will be demanded by those who speak during this season. If you're going to speak during this season, if you're going to be a spokesman in this season of the pandemic, you're going to have substance. You're going to have substance. People, whether they know it or not, are being weaned from the junk of this season, from the junk prior to this season. People are being weaned from your bullshit. Again, I say people are being removed from the boo-la of your boo-sha. They're getting away from that. God is divinely removing them from that. Boo-la and boo-sha has had its place, and God is removing it in this season. Substance will be demanded of those who speak during this season, for people will no longer settle for things of little, of no substance in this season. This is a season where substance will be the requirement for those who speak. You must in this season possess substance. Those who speak during this season must come forth with substance, or you will be shut. Your mouth will be shut. This season will uncover the secret ones. This is a season where the secret ones, the hidden ones, those who actually possess substance will come forth in this season. God said this season again will uncover the secret ones, the hidden ones. He said people who possess substance in this season, who coming into this season, will come forth in this season. This is a season that's calling forth people of substance. This is a people that's calling forth a new army, a new array of people, a new array of prophetic voices, prophetic utterance, a new array of people who will realign and align people up into the greater truths, the greater depths of God, the depths of God that surpasses a book, that surpasses a Bible, the depths of God that have never been tapped into, that have never been experienced. These are the people who are coming forth in this season. God says people with substance will begin to come forth from obscure, hidden places. This is a season where people who have been secretly hidden by God, secretly tucked away in cages under rocks, will come forth out of nowhere. People with substance will begin to come forth from obscure places. People who have been hidden from the public will begin to come forth throughout this season. Those who have been silent are going to speak forth in this season. Those who are silent are going to speak forth in this season. Those who have been silent are going to speak forth what they are hearing. I declare that I am one of those who has been patiently, sufferingly quiet. But now it is time for me to speak forth. Those who have been silent are going to speak forth what they are hearing. They are going to speak forth the things that they have heard. God says a day is coming during this season, a new day, is coming during this season within the political system. I won't mess on that too hard until I get over into that. But God says that the political system will go through a strong purging. A strong purging. The political system will be purged beyond recognition. This is the season where the political system will be purged in this season, throughout this season, from all of its political recognition. You will not be able to recognize the new political system that is coming forth, that all of this is bringing us closer to. God is bringing all of us closer to a new day, a new place, a new set of rules and regulations and guidelines. It won't even be seen as such. And he's going to do it, but he can't do it until he purges that which already exists, that must cease to exist, because the day of its existence has ended. It must now be put to rest. But the way that it's put to rest is through purging. The word purge means to clear of something unclean or unwanted, to remove or eliminate, to rid of something unwanted, to rid of people considered undesirable, to cause evacuation of the bowels, a bowel movement. God is having a divine bowel movement within and upon the political systems of this world. To purge means to induce evacuation of the bowels within an individual. Definition says to clear a storage device of unwanted data. You know how you go into your hard drive or your flash drive and you start deleting stuff? That's what purging is. It's deleting stuff. Well, there's the next one. It says to delete unwanted data from a storage device. It's to undergo or cause an emptying of the bowels, to vomit or force oneself to vomit. God is forcing a vomiting session within the political system of this day, in this day, especially as a symptom of an eating disorder, to be cleansed or purged or purified, to rid one of its impurities or their impurities. I can read a few more on that there particular word, but I'll probably save that for when I begin to speak about these things. But just know that this is a season where a new day is coming within the political systems, and that it'll be purged beyond recognition. We won't even be able to recognize what the political system is becoming or has become. God says this is a time for people to be placed in their rightful positions. He says, I am putting the people in their rightful positions. I am moving the people into their rightful positions. God can't move a people into their rightful positions until he removes a people from their positions that were once right, that is no longer right, or no longer right. Your positions are not right. Perhaps you were not right, but perhaps you were right for the season that you were in, but you are not right for the season that we're in now. We're in a new season, a new period, a new dispensation. We're going into a new world. We're entering into a new world. This is the new world we're entering into. And we don't need your old mess. Your old wineskins can't come along with us. I need new wineskins, and I already have them. I've hidden them under the rocks. I've hidden them in caves, in closets. I've hidden them in obscure places, but now I'm calling from their divinely assigned obscurity into complete notoriety, complete recognition for who they are and for what reason they've come forth. God says that in this season, this is a season of darkness. This is something that God said to me back, I think in March or April. I think it was March, and I'll go on that later. But God says that This is a season where the world will become dark. God says the world will become dark during this season. This season will begin to get very dark before light is shown. God says people will wander, W-A-N-D-E-R. They will wander aimlessly during this season, as though they are wandering in the dark and unable to see. He said people during this season will become very hopeless. He said the events of this season will cause things to become very hopeless. He said people will not see hope in this season. And somehow we keep trying to give people hope. We just keep trying to get people to conjure up hope. And we should reach deep for hope. There should be a hope that we have. Yet at the same time, we need to understand that this season is a season where people will become very hopeless. And the events of this season will cause everything or many things to look as hopeless, to become virtually hopeless. Because if you're hoping for the survival of the church, you may be hurting this season. If you're hoping for the revival of everything that you feel that the pandemic and political systems told you can't have, if you're looking to go back to that, then you're going to be hurt. If you're looking to pick back up and keep on going, church as usual, business as usual, healthcare as usual, law enforcement as usual, the criminal justice system as usual, the prison system as usual, if you think it's going to be that way, then you're going to be hurt. You're going to have a problem. You're not going to look good in this season. Okay, just know that you're going to see things as being hopeless, because you're going to lose those powers. You're going to lose those positions. You're going to lose all of that. All of that's going to be uprooted and dismantled and destroyed. People will not see hope in this season, and you may be one of those people. This will not be a peaceful season. You know, it says they offer peace and they say peace, peace, when there is no peace. God said, if you stood before me, you wouldn't be yelling peace. You would be yelling, get right. Get yourself in line. Get yourself in order. Prepare for what is coming. We want to talk about the good that's coming, but we won't talk about the bad or the ugly that's coming before the good ever comes. The good cannot come until the bad is uprooted. I can't give you a day of sun until I first give you a day of rain. You want the grass to be greener, but you first got to have rain in order for the sun to do its job. If you don't have rain and all you have is immediate and constant sun on that grass that is green, that sun will wither the grass. The grass will dry out because of no rain. So you need the rain in order that the sun might do its job. You need the rain in order for the green grass that you desire, and for the green grass that you desire to become even greener and fluffier, and most of all, to maintain itself. You need rain. We're in a period of rain. This is not a peaceful season. It's no need in us trying to give everybody peace. There's a verse in the Bible, only the principle I'm dealing with, not necessarily the words. It says, there is no peace, says the Lord, to the wicked. How is there going to be peace within systems when the wickedness of systems is so prevalent? How is there going to be peace within the systems if the individuals within the systems have no peace and are not establishing the systems to work in conjunction or in a manner where peace will be brought forth? You can't have peace without a seed. If the seed that you're planting is a corrupt seed, how are you going to get an incorrupt state of peacefulness out of that? This is not a period of peacefulness. This is not a period, a season of peaceful transitioning. Transitioning isn't always easy, isn't always nice. When I was a tanker in the Army, when you wanted to transition across terrain, if we want to go over from this beam, if we want to come out of this berm and go over to that hilltop, man, we got a lot of rough terrain to get over to that. And in a tank, The only person who's comfortable in a tank is the driver, because he has control of the helm and he has shocks, kind of like shocks, springs in his seat. And even though many times the driver, he's upside down driving the tank, or pretty much upside down driving the tank, he is in the most comfortable position. It's the people on the back who feel all the roughness of the terrain. The cry of the driver is, well, I'm sorry, Sergeant. You told me to get over to that hilltop. Go take that hilltop over there and look for cover. Well, I got to knock down trees. I got to go through rough terrain. I got to go through a mud pile. I got to go through a pond of water almost as high as this tank, reaching to the turret part, the gun tube part of the tank. I'm going to wet you all up. I'm going to put mud on you. It's going to be rough. You're going to be thrown around. I know this tank is nothing but steel, and you're going to be bruised up at the end of the day, and you're not going to like it. You're going to have to hold on for dear life. And God forbid, the poor gunner that's underneath there, he's getting knocked with the gun tube handle. He's getting beat out. But at the end of the day, Sergeant, I got you where you told me to get me. We have to understand we're going to have to go through some rough terrain before we ever get to the sunshine that we're all hoping and looking for. And God said this is a season where peace will not be peaceful. This will be everything but a peaceful season, he says. Nothing about this season will resemble anything peaceful. Nothing about this season will resemble anything peaceful. And we need to stop saying, like, can we all just get along? Rodney King. This ain't no Rodney King moment. This ain't no Rodney King season. Now, when he spoke it apparently was. But this ain't one of those can we all get along season. No. It's just not going to happen that way. Everyone is not going to put down what they are divinely petitioned and summoned to bring forth. And we want people to shut up, and we get our guns and we're saying, now, if you don't shut up, I'm going to blow your head off. You can't do that, sir. You can't do that, ma'am. I mean, you can if it's supposed to be done, but you can't if it's not. God says this is a season of puzzlement. He said the world will be puzzled by the response of the United States in this season. Listen to what God said to me. This is a season where the world will be puzzled by the response of the United States. We see that all now. The world will begin to distance themselves from the United States because of this season. There will be a breakaway by other countries from the United States. Other countries, this is a season where other countries will break away from their relationship with the United States or relationships. The United States will lose its dignity. This is a season where the United States will lose its dignity. God said, I'm in July 2nd of 2020, but God said some stuff to me prior to this on that as well. And I'll go over that when I get to that. But the United States will lose its dignity. The United States will lose its standing. The United States will lose its footing during this season. Due to this season, the United States will lose its position in the world during this season. He says humility is going to be required of this season. This is a season of humility. Or should I say, this is a season where humility is going to be a necessity. Because you're going to have to be a humble person. There's some bitter people out there. There's some aggressive people out there. And I am not judging any of them. Let them do what they're doing, I say. I have to be mindful. Everything is on edge. You're going to have to be careful. Humility is a must. It's a requirement of this season for you to make it through this. This season is meant to bring forth humility. This season is going to humble us as we've never been humbled before. We will become more humble than we've ever been in the past. This season is for humility to be brought forth. Humility is what is going to get you through this season. This is what God said to me. He says, without humility, you will lose it in this season. Because this season is going to try you like never before. People are going to try you like never before. Your humility in this season is a must. A must. A must. You're not going to be able to fake it in this season. You're going to have to be truly humble. You're going to have to bite your tongue for real. And you're going to have to sit on that bitten tongue. This is not a season where we're to play around with one another. I am going to go now into July the 2nd, which is what I just came out of. But God spoke to me 2 times in this day. This is number 2 regarding anything that he said on me in this number 2 regarding the type of season this is. He spoke other things, but I'm only talking about the type of season this is for now. This is number 2. This is what God said to me. This season will be filled with the temptation to go against what is occurring. God said there will be so much temptation in this season for you to go against the flow, to go against the direction that this season is taking us, to go against Dr. Fauci, to go against the CDC, to go against all the other scientists and professionals that we go against to do what we do, to do what we desire to do, being led by the church, onward Christian soldiers. Okay. What is occurring during this season will tempt and even cause people to rebel against the direction of the season. God says what is occurring during this season is going to tempt you or cause you to rebel against the direction of this season. That's what's happening. People are fighting against the direction of this season. Churches are fighting against the direction of this season. They don't want to go in the direction that they don't want to go. They don't want to go in the direction that keeps them from having their affairs and having their secret hotel rooms on tithe money. They don't want any of that greed begging they do in churches to stop. And if I can see you, my threat is stronger in front of you than my threats are on the internet or over the telephone with you. God says there will be much temptation to go against the flow of this season. He said what is occurring during this season will tempt and even cause people to rebel against the direction of this season. And you see that everywhere. This will be a season of utter rebellion, a season of utter rebellion. Many will seek to go against the events of this season. Many will rebel against the direction of this season. Many will go against it. Many will rebel against it. God says this is a period, a dark period. This season is a dark period of self-destruction, a dark period of self-destruction. People will self-destruct. They will destroy themselves. There is a verse that says, for my people are destroyed for the lack of, This is a period where people will self-destruct. This is a period where self-destruction will become the norm. God said self-destruction is going to be so prevailing that this period of self-destruction will become the norm to destroy yourself. Self-destruction will be the norm for this season, which is why you are seeing so many people going against what is being pushed, what is being told by the authorities to not do, what is being told by whoever else not to do it. And people are doing it anyway, killing themselves, destroying themselves, self-destruction. This is a period where self-destruction will become the norm. Self-destruction will be the norm for this season, which is why you are seeing so many people going against what is being spoken to them. This will be a season where self-destruction will be the order of the day. That's the meal of the day, self-destruction. Isn't that something? This season will set up new precedents. Precedents meaning something that has never been prior to. New precedents will be set during this season, as in no other season. This season will have precedents in the magnitude of no other season. Things will happen for the first time in this season that has never happened prior to this season. This will be a very unique season. No other season in history will compare with this season. God says this will be a season that is set apart from all other seasons in the history of humanity. This will be a season of its own. A season of its own. This will be a season that is set apart from all other seasons in the history of mankind. A lot's happening, people. We got to get with the program because here it is. This is a season of pain. God says the pain that will be experienced during this season will be great. There will be a great pain. There will be great pain, great despair, great destruction, great catastrophe, and great loss. This will be a season of great loss. Many people will suffer great loss during this season. This will not just be happening in Germany, but not in Spain. This will not just be happening in Africa and not in the United States. Though each individual country, each individual people, each individual system will have its own level of dismantling and destruction, and some will just be totally dismantled. This will be the season of great loss, great despair, great despair. The events of this season will bring great despair. The people's despair during this season will be greater than any other season. People will be driven to suicide, and we're seeing that in the Army, in the U.S. Army. So many people have committed suicide. They said since this pandemic began, over 200 people. Well over in a short period of time. It's hopeless. The despair is great. The threat is great. The people's despair during this season will be greater than any other season. People will be driven to suicide. People will be driven to commit suicide. Suicide will be seen as the way of escape from the despair associated with this season. But it's not going to work, people. The violence in this season will be great. The violence will be great. Many will be killed during this season. I'll talk about that more and when I get over into another subject of this, another subject of this. Many will see their death due to the violence of this season. Not just the virus, but the violence. In this season, people's humanity will be broken. Humility itself will be humbled. Humanity will be broken. Humanity will not be the same. Humanity will be humbled. Humanity will not see the same. Humanity will not think the same. Humanity will not behave the same. There's no way in us thinking that we're going back to some point and period that we were before. Those things are lost. Those things are past. We've done our time there. We're coming home now. That's the way it is. You don't like it, but it is what it is. until the next one, which will be the last one on the type season this is, until the next time, let's continue to be and become all that God intended for us to be and to become.